Recording button. Double tap to activate. Spoken feedback is off.
What's up, guys? I decided to record this video on my Android phone because, well, I didn't, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna say that, that video was a video that I enjoyed doing last night. So I thought, you know what? I'm doing it again. And I figured that, once I talked about the iOS stuff and the Apple stuff, that, I thought that would get my creativity stuff back up. Sometimes I don't have motivation for videos, which is fine by me. Heck, I don't even care. iOS is, from what I hear, is getting better, and it could make skeptical Android users switch to iOS. Yes, I've been an Android user since December of 2022, but uh, mm, mm, mm. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. It just seems like iOS is getting, well, it's getting more customizable. Heck, that my Android phone cannot stand on its side. iPhone 12 that I had still did stand on its side. But I'm not sure if there's a newer phone that does. I'm pretty sure there is. The 13 does. 14 probably does. Standby feature is kind of like what the Echo Show is like. Echo Show 5 to be exact. The Echo Show 5 is in a landscape view. Always will be, because it's meant to be like an alarm clock. And you can browse stuff on it. You can use it, but it's not practical. Voice view on that thing is terrible. And I feel like, maybe it's time I maybe switch back. I feel like it's time because iOS is getting better. Apparently, Eloquence on iOS, for those that use Eloquence, it's going to get better when it comes to, it's going to have better quality. It's going to be better. Eloquence on Android, as me and Blake talked about last night, there's some pronunciation glitches that even Code Factory didn't even fix when doing Eloquence, and it hasn't gotten updated in over. Speaking of Eloquence, my iPad's over there in the drawer. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of Eloquence, that was it on the iPad. As I said last night, my iPad is no longer getting supported, which means I'm gonna have to get another iPad at some point. And I hope it's a good one. Sorry about that. Hope that's a good one. Hope that would be a good iPad if I get one. I'm either thinking of the iPad Mini 7, which I think there is one that's out, or the iPad 10 or 11 if that comes out. But then again, my Android tablet that I have, even though it'll get one more year of security updates, I don't feel that's going to be enough. I mean, I don't know how many updates it'll get within that 1 year, but the Galaxy Tab S7 that I have, originally came with Android 10. Shout out goes to Bryce for actually giving me that info. I didn't even know that originally came with Android 10. Like, if I would have known that, I would have gotten voice assistant on that thing. But I didn't. I ended up getting it with Android 11, and the size of storage, 32 gigabytes. Very, very little for what I need it for. And Westminster Chimes. That's one thing I like about Apple devices is that they actually do have they have more apps than what the Play Store does. Yes, there are more third-party stores on Android. Yes, there are. Don't tell me, but Ken, you need to know that there are more Android app stores than there are app stores for the iPhone. Yes, I know that. You don't need to keep telling me that. And you don't need to keep telling me that there are ways to get around my quote unquote issue. There are games on the App Store that I like. For example, I may not like to play Uno as much as other people, although it is a challenging game. I have a physical copy of it. I have a physical Uno card game somewhere. Too bad there's no one to play it. Too bad there's no one to play it with. Um. Anyways, off of that topic, there are games that I like Farkle and 1,000 Miles. You can get decent standalone Farkle and 1,000 Mile games on the App Store. On Android, not so much. The only one you can come across is the suite of games by, I don't know what it is, but it's Game World. No, that's for iOS. Oops. Dice World. That has Farkle, Pig, and a few others. I don't know which ones. But Game World is on iOS. I mean, sure, I can get it on my iPad, which is not a problem. I can do that. But it would be much better if I had a phone that I could play it on if I'm on the go. Which is why I'm thinking maybe I should switch back at some point to an iPhone. Because I enjoy those games. And yes, I've not said this publicly. I enjoy basic dice and card games. Even though I'm 22, 23 exactly. 23 I meant. Why did I say 22? I don't know what I'm thinking right now. Even though I'm 23 and I'm in the age right now where people my age like to play games like Call of Duty and Fortnite and other games like that. I'm not one of those people. I don't play those games. I play games like Farkle, 1,000 Miles, and other games like that. Those games have been around for a long time. Basic card and dice games. Those games can also be played on game clients like RS Games and Quentin C's Playroom. RS Games is not a client that I do not go on anymore. So if you are on RS Games, do not ask me to go on RS Games anymore. Quentin C is my preferred game client for playing games on the computer. Because RS Games has a few things wrong with it. One, on the mobile side of things, you only get it on iOS, no Android version. unless you go to the website, which has no sounds. The chat feature on there is so low quality that you could barely hear. I mean, you could hear the person, but it's not as clear of a quality. And as for security, there's not much. When you want to block someone, all you can do is remove them from your friends list. That's all you can do. You cannot block people. On Quentin C, you can. And that's a great way to make sure that a person that you don't like or a person that you don't want to be around anymore, or that's great if you want to be around someone, or if you don't, I mean, that's great if you don't want to be around, or if you don't want someone in your life anymore as a friend on that client. RS Games is laggy when it comes to the server. Server side, it's laggy. I've played Farkle on there, and countless times, there have been times where the game would freeze for a while, and sometimes there would be times where the game would completely freeze and not, it would not come back. Quentin C has done this a little bit, but usually their server is better managed than RS Games. Plus, they have more games on Quentin C than RS. No, there's no pig game. No, there's no toss-up. But you can get pig in other ways. Like, for example, Dice World has pig. You can get Dice World, you can get Dice World on Android and iOS. But that's the only way you're going to get Farkle on Android is Dice World. An accessible version of Farkle, mind you. The game, the Farkle game that I like on iOS, going back to that, is the iFarkle game, free with ads. That's the one that I would recommend. The dice would be blue, indicating that you can take the dice. Red, indicating that they have already been rolled and taken. And just to give you a simple analogy of like what Farkle is. A simple description. Farkle is basically a game where you roll 6 dice, you try to get a combination, and if you don't get a certain combination, like for example, 3, 4, 4, 6, 2, and 3, or whatever. If you get that combination, it's most likely a Farkle and you lose no points. But if you get a combination, but then you Farkle, you lose that score that you have. So basically, that's kind of the gist of it. 1,000 miles, you try to get to the object of the game is just to get to the 1,000 miles, and there are stops and a bunch of other stuff in the way. Ugh. I don't know. It's just 2 games that I like. I've played Uno for a long time as well. I mean, I've played the physical Uno card game for like, I don't know, 15, 16 years. I have actually played it a long time ago. I still have my original Uno card game physical, but I don't know. I don't know why I got into the topic of games. Great. Anyways, there are games and apps that I like on iOS. For example, there's this app that I talked about a while ago called Time Signals. In this app, you can tell the time by voice, or There's another way of doing it. You can get a sort of Westminster Chimes thing, but it would only go for half hour and full hour and quarter hour. The quarter hour is for the half hour, and the half hour is for the hour. The full hour is for when midnight and noon strikes. But when it comes to the voice, you can get a voice like cellos. I like cellos. Cancel.
Canceling.
Good. Let me just mute that. I like cellos. As one of the novelty voices. But as I said last night, I don't really care about TTS voices as long as they work. Which is why I really don't care about using RH voice, really. I use it on Linux because I want to. And while I use a screen reader, because of me, of course, being a blind person, but while I'm doing that, I do like to have my enjoyment. Like, for example, I used to play the Time Crash game. I don't know if I'll do that anymore. As for other games like that one Farkle game and that one 1000 Miles game, maybe. I wonder if Blindfold Games would make a Farkle game. I doubt it. Because RS Games is basically the Blindfold RS Games app. Man, the mobile version of RS Games. Freaking hate it. It's literally, all it is basically the Blindfold Games menu, and then you connect to the server, and then you log in. RS Games should literally have their own app. But it's whatever. I don't really care. But what I do care about is what I use and how I use it. There are things that I like using on an iPhone that I can't do on Android. Sure, majority of the main apps are on Android. YouTube, for example, that's there. Facebook is there. All of those apps. I don't really use Instagram. I use Discord. I use Skype sometimes. All those apps are on Android. But like I said, some games, I like to play games. Some other people don't. Some people don't like to play mobile games. There are games on, like I said, there are games on iOS that you can't get on Android. There are standalone Farkle games and 1000 Miles games on Android, but they're not accessible. For crying out loud, why are they not accessible? Okay, I don't want you people that want to chew me out come after me and say, Ken, not everything is accessible. I get that. I totally get that. But to hear you guys say that not everything has to be accessible is not what I'm here for. I like things that are accessible. If not everything has to be accessible, fine. But you don't have to tell me that every single time I say something inaccessible. You know what voiceover has that talkback doesn't have? Screen recognition. It has screen recognition, of all things. Google has not caught up to talkback with that. It has not caught up. I didn't want to say my thoughts because people are, some people are biased with iOS and some people are biased with Android. This is why I don't quite like sharing my thoughts publicly about what I like and what I dislike. But I figured, why not? My experience with iOS and my experience of Westminster Chimes again. And the stupid braille display keeps connecting. Ah, oh well. My experience with iOS and my experience with Android both have been different. With Android, yes, you can get more screen readers and more accessibility stuff. There are certain things that I like about Android. There are some that I don't like. Like, for example, on my Android phone, I was able to get the Bop It app on there. No, it's not accessible, but I've found a way to work around that. I don't like having to do that because I don't know where everything is. Yes, I can figure it out, but is it necessary for me to have to figure it out? Probably not. Anyways,
Spoken feedback. Switch to stop recording button. Double tap to activate.
this is Ken, and I am signing out.